What's up YouTube? Capital G here, Duel Commentary. Playing Bujins once again, playing against Dragon Master. I think my rating's like 1670, something like that, and he's about mid 1600s too. I've been trying a bunch of new decks, so I've been losing a lot more. Just getting a little frustrated right now. So yeah, I kind of went through a losing streak. As you can see, I open with Yamato, I dump here into the graveyard, and you see that I go to check because I dumped it into the graveyard and it looked like I put it in the banish zone. If you guys haven't noticed by now, Dueling Network obviously has changed, and they've now changed the field to incorporate Pendulum monsters. I'm not particularly a fan of this look because it looks like they didn't make the screen size bigger on Dueling Network. So it kind of looks like everything is just mashed together instead of looking more fluid. Like you look at the phases, and they're all small. You know, the life point bar is really small, and it's kind of difficult to know where the hell anything is. So anyways, he summons Chaos. I'm playing against Constellars, by the way. I bottomless it. As soon as I realized that he didn't have Pollux, I was like, okay, well, this guy is just the one that adjusts his levels, so it makes no sense not to use my bottomless and to have to burn my hair on that guy. Plus, you know, I get rid of the monster, obviously. So I Tinky for, or excuse me, I Duality for Tinky. He scoops it up. I guess he knew that I was going to get Mikazuki, get a Carnation too, and dump Turtle into the graveyard. We go to the side deck, and again, you guys can look at my build. You see that I'm constantly adjusting it. I've added in wiretaps. I love wiretap. I think that is one of the best cards out available right now. I also decided to throw some Gozen match in there to try and help against some matchups where decks like to run, you know, multiple types like that. And I'm trying to think. When I threw it in there, I knew exactly what deck I was thinking about. Oh yeah, the hand artifact deck. You know, okay, so like artifacts are all light. The trap tricks are, you know, trap trick monsters are earth. The hands are fire and ice. So I was like, okay. And you see I'm siding here, and did you just see that? Did you just see how everything, the pixels kind of like shifted for a second? Like that's another thing. I think they're trying to iron that out. And as I speak right now, Dueling Network is actually down. It went down, and then it relaunched, and then they incorporated Pendulums. And then about a half an hour later, it went down again, and I was in matches in both times. So they could be trying to iron this out. And I think that they have Odd Eyes up, or at least they have a version of Odd Eyes. I thought there was only one Odd Eyes, but it's just a normal monster. Its effect is very similar to Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon, but I thought it just says Odd Eyes Dragon. I thought his name was Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon, and what's it called? And you see now you can look at your opponent's extra deck, but the only cards that are public knowledge are the cards that go face up. And you see that Rank Up Magic is actually explaining some of the rules to us. So throughout this duel, there'll be a couple of times where I'll stop, or Dragon Master will stop, and we'll do something because we're kind of like the testers for the first duel where Pendulum summoning is like a thing. So they're kind of trying to test out a lot of things and work out some of the kinks and bugs. As you guys can see, the D Fissure first turn obviously hurt. I think I cited out all my MSTs, which I was like, okay, it's Constellars. He can't do lead. He can't do light mirror. I was like, all right, I don't necessarily need my MSTs. I was like, I won game one anyway. So regardless, that D Fissure is obviously a problem. Out of these cards, I obviously can't take Crane because I can't use it. And Bujin Carnation, there's no guarantee that I'll actually get something in my graveyard, so I'm just going to take Wiretap for now. I've got Warning, Breakthrough Skill, Maxi, which is completely dead, Dark Hole, and Solemn Warning. If I can get Yamato on board, I can probably just win through Beatdown, Yamato beat, because I will immediately get rid of that Maxi for another monster. So I was asking the admin if we can play 2 field spells now, which the field spell zone is actually, if you guys see where card D is, right to the left of that is the field spell zone. Right above the main deck and right above the extra deck, those are the P zones. So yeah, I mean, again, it's confusing as fuck. And now they have, it's just, I'm not crazy about it. I thought that they should have just used the full screen size, and I think it would have looked more professional. And you know what? That might be why they shut Dueling Network down, because maybe they're gonna try and adjust it. I mean, the guy who runs the site, BLS, I think he is a programmer, so you know, who knows what he's gonna do. Alright, so you see my opponent still has that D-Fissure on board, which is a problem. And I kept thinking, like, alright, draw my MST, draw my MST. And then it dawned on me, oh, I don't have MSTs. I didn't realize that I didn't have MSTs until pretty much the duel was almost over. So he goes Thrasher, and then he summons Pollux. And I knew he was going to go for an Xyz. I was like, why even summon Pollux if you're not? I was just trying to think which one he was going to go into. And I mean, I have options here. I can either burn Solemn Warning. I really want to save Solemn Warning for Pelides. I can go during my turn. I can Dark Hole and then use Breakthrough Skill. But I was like, I'd rather use Breakthrough Skill defensively. So I'll just take the +1 and I'll use Solemn Warning on it. You see that I changed my avatar. This time I have Luffy. It's probably going to always be somebody from One Piece. He sets 2 cards in his back row. I draw a Tenki. And I thought about for a second getting Mikazuki just because it's 2K instead of 1900. But then I was like, well, Yamato can essentially recruit for Mikazuki by getting rid of the Max C because I can't use it. So I was like, getting the Yamato makes sense. And I think currently on DN, there's only like 3 Pendulums. So you can't really have a full fleshed out Pendulum duel. It's probably going to be a little while. Now you see that I attack in the D prison. Now he already knew I had Wiretap, so I'm like, fuck it, I guess I'll just go ahead and burn it. I mean, it's a card that he already knew I had anyway. Wiretap is amazing. So my 19 is going to get in. I'm going to end my turn, and obviously I'm going to get Mikazuki here because, I mean, it's pretty much the best monster that I can get. I can't obviously use the Max C, and I mean, I'd grab Harumi, but I'm not guaranteed to have a graveyard, so banish that Maxi, which is completely dead, and I'll pass back to Dragon Master. Now the admin is saying something about if you have too many cards in hand, it'll, I guess the 15 on my extra deck will like move up or something like that. I don't know exactly what he was saying. It was kind of hard for me to follow because I'm trying to follow the duel too. You see that Dragon Master goes Pollux. I thought he was gonna go for like another rank 4, and I was like, damn it! I really didn't want to have to burn my breakthrough skill on this guy, but I was like, please run it over, please run it over. Which, if I was him, I don't even think I would have ran it over. I think I would have used its effect during my opponent's turn. Like, its effect, I mean, you draw 1. So when he ran it over, I was like, thank God. I have the Dark Hole, so obviously I can deal with it. But at least you didn't get a plus off of it. So I'm actually still in the game. So I Dark Hole him. And then I'm just going to summon Mikazuki. He's 2K. And of course he falls in the bottomless. This is clearly just a trap war. I mean, we both just seem to be trap. You know, he passes turn. And I say it in the duel chat. I say everything looks crammed together. And it does. I top deck Turtle. Summon it, attack. Obviously, in most duels, when you top deck a turtle or a rabbit, man, they're just house money, man. You just summon them motherfuckers, attack until your opponent does something. Misplay here. I should have summoned both and attacked. Number 1, he had already burnt Torrential Tribute. I know that I had my Torrential, but I should have went for the home run. I should have went for Susanoo O, because if I would have gotten Susanoo O off, obviously Susanoo O could have recruited for another Mikazuki, and then his Kaos wouldn't have been able to actually threaten me. As it stands, I've got a Crane on board, but I mean, well, I guess technically he would have used Solemn Warning on it. But still, I feel like the result would have been better. So he summons Kaos after using Warning on my Crane, which I guess he must have top decked the Kaos, because if not, he just would have beaten over it. I top deck Quillen, that's no good, and he attacks over Quillen. And as you can see, pretty much that D-Fissure just beat my entire deck. There was no way of me stopping it. I mean, I sided out my MSTs like a dummy. My Blackhorn that I just set got MST'd, and now all he has to do is just show me a monster and I'll scoop. And yeah, I got him to 800, but I couldn't close him out. He shows me Sombre, so I'm like, all right, fuck this, I'm out. We'll just go to the next game. So the fact that I'm going first, oh yeah, I added Warm Soul Charge back into the deck. The fact that I'm going first, I'm probably going to take out the Maxis because I feel like if I can set up, then I don't really care what you have. And I bring the MSTs back in, take the Maxis out. I think I didn't really do that much adjusting. I took out Quillen and I took out the Maxis, and then that was pretty much it. And now I'm saying, I don't know if you guys saw it when I actually sided, but it's like when you go to side cards, when you hit the little swap cards button, it's like there's this shift or something like that. You know what I mean? It looks really weird. And I'm asking Dragon Master if he notices that, and he responds with yeah. He says that I know what he's gonna say. I'm waiting for him to type it. He says it looks like a Game Boy. And it kind of does. It looks like an 8-bit Game Boy or something like that. So I still really don't understand. They have like a full inch on the left side and the right side of the screen. I mean, I know that maybe it would add to like the server, which sometimes they have trouble keeping up with. But it's like, would it make that big of a difference? So anyways, I'm going to open in this duel. Again, incredible. We started this duel with like 40 people, and now we have 160 right about. All right, so I've got a monster-loaded hand, which I'm not in love with. I want a defensive trap. I obviously can't take 2 wiretaps because if he exitons me, that's no good. He'll just blow my board up. So I'm like, I don't want to put myself in a position to get exiton knighted, and 2 wiretaps is mad cluttered. So I'm just gonna take Honest because I can just leave it in my hand and I can use it whenever I need to. For this hand, because I have wiretap, I'm going to dump Turtle instead of dumping Hair, which means that if he Dark Holes me, I'll summon Mikazuki, and I'll just try and ride that shit out. But he opens with Upstart. I'm hoping he won't put an Exceed on board. He just sets 2 in his back row, 3 in his back row, and then he summons Chaos. And if he attacked, I would have burnt my Honest. I would have saved Crane because Crane plus Mika equals another Bujin Carnation. So you see that I summoned Mikazuki, and I was hoping he wouldn't have any response here. I was like, sweet, I can load my graveyard up. I can get my Bujin Carnation. He used Bottomless, and I was like, I want my Bujin Carnation. So I'm gonna burn the wiretap. I still have Book of Moon for defense. I didn't think that he would have another. Like, there's nothing else outside of him having, like, a Torrential or something that would have essentially stopped me from doing what I wanted to do. Once he used Bottomless, my monster was on board, so he couldn't Warning. He couldn't use Breakthrough Skill because I just would have used Turtle, and then I would have dumped another Turtle. So as you can see, I get Hair in the graveyard, and then I get another Bujin Carnation. At this point, I feel really, really good. Now, he summons Pollux. I wasn't sure if he was going to use his extra summon. I thought he was going to go for Exiton Knight, which I would have been fine with. I was like, I got double Carnation, and I'm definitely going to banish a Hair, so please Exiton Knight me. I'm going to also Book a Moon it if you do. So he summons Rhapsody in Berserk, number 80. And I had to read it for a hot second. I was like, okay, I think one other person has used the card against me, and it banishes shit from your graveyard. So it's actually a card that can be used effectively against Bujins because it takes out your Turtles and your Hairs, and I was like, I don't want that, so I'm just going to book it. Because if he does, then, I mean, he could potentially take out my Turtle, then I go to attack, and he uses, like, a D-Prison on me, so I was like, alright, whatever. It makes more sense for me to just book it. You know, book's a neg 1, but that summoning that guy was a neg 1 too. So, either way, I'm going to be able to attack over it, get in for damage. I immediately went for another Turtle dump because I feel like Pleiades is definitely the strongest card in their deck, so I don't really need to worry about using Hair twice. He uses Soul Charge, which he may have top deck, he may have had it the entire time. And he's going for all 3. He goes for Cows, Pollux, and Berserk. So I was wondering at this point what exactly he was going to do. I still thought that it was a potential for him to nuke the field with Exiton Knight. I wouldn't advise it at this point because, again, I've got what's it called? I've got 2 Bujin Carnations, and he has to know I have at least 1. Maybe he might have thought that I forgot about the second one. He gets Pollux from Rhoda, which he had in his hand. So I was wondering, I was like, okay, maybe he'll use that extra summon, maybe not. I was actually, at this point, I was hoping he would use Pleiades because he can't attack, and I probably wouldn't negate both Pleiades' effect. I'd negate one. Like, if he just summoned Pleiades and bounced Yamato to hand, I'd just be like, okay, I'm just gonna, what's it called? I'm just gonna resummon it during my turn. I wouldn't even respond with Turtle or anything. I would just, again, wait until it's my turn. And then I would try and use, then I would try and just, you know, take it from there. Now, you see he makes both guys level 5. And he goes into the artifact sword, Durandal. And he equips it with Berserk. And I was like, wait a second, you can do that? So it threw me for a loop because I was like, what? And as you see, the admin jumps in and he asks us to summon a token. I'm really not sure that was why that was relevant. It wasn't relevant to the duel. He was just obviously trying to test a function to make sure that it was working. And if that was the case, I don't know why we didn't test everything. Like, we didn't test the die roll and the flipping the coins and all of that, counters and, you know, all that good stuff. So I know what Durandal's effect is. It can blow up spells or traps. I know that it can shuffle cards back to the hand. He must have been reading that I had Honest or that I had Crane or something like that. So I'm asking him about his Durandal, which is pretty damn powerful. But all I really need is one Crane to take it down, or an Honest or something like that. So I asked him what its attack was. He tells me that it is that its attack is 3,600, and I'm like, okay, that's a problem. And I was trying to think of the best way to approach this. You know, I was thinking, I was like, all right, I can go into Susanoo O. And again, my mindset is I totally did not realize that its effect to basically shuffle stuff back into the hand. I did not know that could be used on both turns. That's a little disruptive. So I activate Susanoo O's effect. And I was like, all right, well, in case he has a debunk or something like that, I'm just going to get Mikazuki so I can continue my attacks and whatnot. And again, I sided Quelling out, so there was no way that I could obviously Quelling him. And I was thinking about going for 101, obviously. But then I was like, all right, so what if he has a trap and then he has, you know, all right, what if he has like warning, but then he has another trap, like he has something like breakthrough skill. The reason I'm always reluctant to use, you know, cards like 101 to handle business for me instead of using my Bujins is because of the fact that once you get your graveyard set up right with turtles and hair, if you exceed into a non-Bujin monster, you essentially give all of that protection up, and I don't like doing that. So if at all possible, I always like to use Susanoo O to solve my problems. You know, I will only summon 101 once every blue moon, usually only like off a soul charge or something like that. It's very rare for me to go 101 unless I've got like 2 Bujin carnations. So, and that's why in the mirror match, you never, ever, 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 ever do it unless it's Cowboy. You never summon NXC out, well, maybe Ragnar Zero now. But for the most part, you don't summon Xyzs that aren't Bujins because once you set your graveyard up, you don't want to give up all that protection. Alright, so you see the admin was saying something. I don't even know. But anyways, and this is exactly when I noticed that it could be used on both turns. And I was like, fuck. So I was like, I'm going to lose my Crane and I'm going to lose my Honest. And this is going to be a bitch because now I am going to have to try and make something like Diamond Direwolf off a Carnation, or I am going to have to use a 101. I was actually thinking, all right, well, you know, maybe Diamond Direwolf off a Carnation. But then it dawned on me, once I attack and use the effect, I'm going to lose my fucking Carnation too. So that really sucks. So you say he uses the effect of the Durandal, which really, really sucks because I had my hand set up so nicely. Double Carnation, you know, a Mikazuki there. I've got Crane and Honest, so obviously I can just game him easily. I didn't even need either attack to go through because I could game him twice essentially. So I'm like, alright, whatever. I made the misplay, but I'll find a way to get through this somehow. If nothing else, I can take a lot of attacks and somehow, I mean, maybe I can just luck sack them. So I'm getting 5 new cards. I'm going to shuffle them up. And to my surprise, I get Mikazuki again. I get Crane again. I get Honest again. And I get another Crane. This is like crazy, right? I'm like, yo, I got more cranes and honest than when I started with. That's hilarious, right? And I got Mikazuki again. So basically, there's no way I can't OTK, especially considering I drew MST. So I got a more aggressive hand than when I started with. It was insane. It was the craziest thing ever. So obviously you see I'm going to use Crane first, and if he debunks me, then I'll tackle Yamato and I'll try and Crane him again. And if he debunks me again, I'll summon Mikazuki and then I'll use Honest. But again, I have MST anyway, so I don't think it really would have mattered. So I'm explaining. I'm like, I drew more Cranes and Honest after the fact. So I mean, I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. You know, I had two and then I ended up drawing more. Thank you guys for watching. As always, let me know what you guys think of the new look on Dueling Network. Not a fan. Not a fan at all.